Okay, so we're going to talk about standard anti-inflammatory principles and things that you can do to just decrease the inflammation and pain that you feel in your body. And almost all pain that you feel is mediated by inflammation, right? And inflammation is how we heal. It's how your body signals to yourself that something's wrong. And that signaling system is extremely complex. But we know there's a tremendous amount of data out there and good science behind the things that I'm going to talk about. So the first thing I want to talk about is exercise. Probably the most powerful thing of all is daily exercise, and at least 2 to 3 days a week of vigorous exercise where your heart rate is elevated high, 80 to 90% of normal. Check with your doctor to make sure that's okay. You're soaked in sweat and you're really physically exhausted, but also just going on long walks and doing mid-range exercise. So you want to make sure you're doing, strength training, whether it's with machines, weights, or bands on a regular basis. You're doing mobility work, things like yoga and Pilates, and you're also doing, low intensity cardiovascular work where, long walks or bike rides and things like that. And then high intensity cardio work where you're doing full body things that really take your breath away, right? Like those are kind of the pillars of exercise. And you need to take care of your joints. You need to do it in a modified way that your body allows you to do that, but you got to figure out a way to really stress your body on a regular basis. So that's one, exercise. Two would be your diet. And so common principles of an anti-inflammatory diet are non-processed things. So things you could go buy at a farmer's market, right? So you want to make sure you're eating plenty of protein. We recommend 100 grams a day for women, 150 grams a day for men. Clean protein, so chicken, fish, salmon is a favorite. Steak is not terrible as long as it doesn't have a huge amount of saturated fat. So you want leaner cuts of steak. Same thing with burgers. You can get 90% lean ground beef that's got much less fat. You can also do bison. It's much more lean. Eggs are actually okay. When you look at the data on cholesterol, it's actually more driven by saturated fat. And so it's okay to have a couple eggs every morning and eat the yolk. Butter is okay. You want to do more olive oils and things like that. It's okay to have a little butter. Like I put butter in my eggs. I like the way it tastes, and it hasn't affected my cholesterol levels when I measure them. So I think it's perfectly fine. And then tons of leafy green vegetables. Fruits are okay, but you want the lower glycemic fruits like strawberries, blueberries, those types of things. You don't want to be eating like tons of pineapple and oranges. They have a little bit more sugar. Apples are okay. And really just mostly natural things, right? You want to stay away from processed things. You want to stay away from things that are in packages. You want to minimize how much added sugars you see in all the foods. Typically, if something is in a package, it has a lot of additives, but those aren't really the enemy. It's actually the sugar that they're putting in there to get you to buy it, eat it. If you look at the package, most things that are packaged have more sugar in them. And if they don't, then they have a bunch of other, preservatives because it has to be packaged. So foods that are more natural have less sugar in them. They tend to have less saturated fat in them. And the preservatives, the data doesn't really show us that the preservatives are a huge deal. It's more what type of foods are the preservative in. There's no yellow dye number 5 in spinach, right? So that's where you feel better. And plus the caloric load is less dense, right? So if you're eating things that are packaged and processed, it's much more calories in a smaller amount, which has a much more inflammatory effect on your body. If you ever notice when you have a really big meal where you consume a lot of calories, your body tends to ache more. Whereas when you eat smaller amounts of food that don't absorb as quickly, you don't hurt as much. So, and you also think about the volume of food you eat, so number of calories. You want to think about the timing. So fasting can be very beneficial. There's people that eat one meal a day, which has some good data behind it. It's hard to get enough protein that way. Or you can periodically fast, where a couple of days a week you don't eat. You eat an early dinner and then you don't eat till like later in the afternoon. It's pretty easy to get like a 16-hour fast if you eat dinner at like 6 o'clock at night and then you don't eat the next day till 1 or 2. Like that's over 16 hours. So you can do that a couple of days a week, or you can do sometimes, I do these like quarterly. You can do a fast where you only consume 300 or 400 calories a day for like 5 straight days, and you're just drinking electrolytes along the way. That can be a really good reset for your body. So we covered diet and exercise, and you can go so deep into that, but those are the high points. The next thing is sleep. You need to be getting the maximum amount of sleep that you need. Oura rings and Whoop watches are very beneficial for this. So I've worn an Oura ring for years because it's an objective measure of your sleep every day. And you can look and see, what am I doing before when I get great sleep and what am I not doing? And typically what you'll see is if you have, any alcohol before you go to bed, it really affects your sleep. And if also you have big meals before you go to bed, it affects your sleep. And if you're going to bed at chaotic times, meaning sometimes you go to bed at 10, sometimes you go to bed at midnight, that affects your sleep. You want to be, ruthless about your sleep hygiene. So all phones get shut off a couple hours before you go to bed. The room needs to be cold and dark. You need to have comfortable bed, comfortable pillows. But the beautiful thing about Aura Rings and Whoop watches is that you can look at your sleep across, 3 months, and it will not be the same every night. And all you need to do is look and see, okay, what was I doing on the nights when I had good sleep? And then repeat that. And what was I doing on the nights when I had bad sleep? Don't do that, right? The next thing is hydration. You want to make sure you're hydrated throughout the day, especially in the afternoon. You can use electrolytes. That makes sure whatever you're drinking a little bit more profound, because you hold on to the fluid more if there's electrolytes in it. So, 1 liter of water with electrolytes is more like having 1.5 liters without. And then the other thing is stress, right? So we all deal with stress on a regular basis. You can't hide from stress, but how you process stress in your life is very important. So meditation can help. Listening to music, hanging out with friends, taking long walks, drawing, sketching, like whatever you need to do to calm yourself down and learn how to deal with all the stress in your life will help you a ton, because a lot of us live in this, in modern society, live in this constant level of like high stress. And what that does is it tells your body that it's in a fight or flight state. And when you live in that kind of high cortisol fight or flight state all the time, it causes more inflammation in your body, like low level, low grade, just chronic achy inflammation. And you don't allow yourself to heal, right? So I think those are kind of the 5 main pillars that we talk about that are the core of this. And then you can do other outside things. Like I love cold plunging. I think that's a great way to decrease inflammation in your body. I've done it for a while, so I do very cold water for like 3 to 4 minutes. You can go longer than that, and I used to more just because I thought more is better. But when you look at the data, 3 to 4 minutes, you don't gain anything by staying in there for 10 or 12 versus 3 to 4. And then also saunas. There's really good data on using saunas periodically throughout the week. So cold stress, heat stress, those are great ways, great tools on top of all the other things to decrease inflammation in your body. And if you check all those boxes on a continual basis, you will feel much better than if you don't, right? I know it's hard in life. There's so much chaos in our lives, but the better you can get about your diet, your exercise, your sleep, your stress, your hydration, you'll just feel better overall as a human.